branding is literally the DNA of what makes you a business.
Not too long ago, putting content out into the world at all was impressive. Now, anyone can release content into the world with the push of a button, and in order to stand out, we have to play a bigger game. JP Hightek began in the world of photography and cinematography and has since expanded into brand development, business building, and media distribution. He's the host of Content Creators University, he's the CEO of Perfect Zone Productions, and his mission is to help his clients craft and release their premium brand into the world. Because it's no longer enough to just be here. It's time to show up. Welcome to the Story Greenlight podcast, where we're all about empowering creators like you to tell your stories, connect with your audience, and create the impact that you were put on this planet to make. My name is Jeff Barch. I'm a coach, author, and entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience shaping content for ABC, NBC, Universal, Disney, Apple, and a whole bunch of others. My team and I support creators with followings in the hundreds to the many millions. At Story Greenlight, we believe that you matter, your message matters, and the world needs to hear what you have to say. Dude, good to see you.
Hey, good to be here, man. Good to see you again.
Absolutely. The last time we spoke, you were hosting me on your show, and I will say, you gave me the benefit of a heads up by some of the questions you were going to ask ahead of time. One of which was, if you were a superhero, if you were to be any superhero, which one would you be? And I'm glad you gave me that heads up, dude, because I know very little about the world of superheroes, just in general. So I gotta,
right?
Well, I gotta say, I can't imagine that you haven't thought about that question yourself quite a bit. So I will return the favor. If you were going to be any superhero, which one would you be?
Oh man, yeah, you're right. I've definitely thought about that. And thanks for asking. So, if I was a superhero, right? My choice will be to be Superman, and for a specific reason, right? If you know anything about the stories of superheroes, you know Superman. Even though he's from Krypton, he lived his entire childhood was like a regular kid, right? And until when he was growing later, that he was discovering his superpowers, right? So I love that aspect. If knowing that we all have superpowers, but we have a learning season of our lives where we have to learn and discover how to use it. Because what good will it be knowing that you have a superpower and not receiving the proper training, right, to use it, how to use it, because that's the best way to be effective and that's the best way to help. I remember one part of his story where his father, his earthly father, right, was caught in a storm. And he was going to run and go save him because he has the power to do so. But the dad just raised his hand and told him, no, you have bigger things to do with those powers. This is not the time, which means that you can have superpowers and use it in the wrong time, right? You can have a knowledge, a skill, a talent, something unique about you. But if you use it in the wrong time, it will have the wrong effect. So that life lesson is something that I really appreciate about the stories of superheroes and identify with that, right? Because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I hadn't received a proper training. And if I do not know how to discern the times on how to apply certain knowledge in regard to certain situations in my life. So which is the reason why I'll choose him.
Dude, that is phenomenal. Because I mean, and that's the perfect segue into what we want to dig into here. Because you know, anyone who looks you up will see that you have a whole raft of superpowers. And I would, so the burning question at this point is, you have so many irons in the fire. You know, the introduction talked about that a little bit, but how did you come to this place where you're doing all these different things, and what was your season of training? How did that all start for you?
Wow. Oh boy. How much time do we have?
Right, exactly.
I'll try to shorten it, but
Sure.
very, very good question, Jeff. Very, very good question. I love that you're asking that. Um, for the folks that don't know, right? I'm JP Hightek, of course, and I am a global branding expert. What I do is that I'm also the CEO, founder, CEO of a media agency called Perfect Zone Productions, and so what we do is developed. We help our clients and individuals develop, establish, and embrace their trademark identity, right? Through ways of leveraging things like premium photography, videography, web and graphic design, live video, right? Live video to build that premium brand. Because if we understand anything, it's through these applications that anybody can build a premium brand. And a lot of times I receive the question where people ask, why premium brand? Why do you add premium to it? Well, the thing is that you want to attract premium clientele, right? That is how we all want to build our legacy. So if we want to build our legacy, we want to attract those premium clients so that we can grow or increase the pricing on our services or products, so we can charge what we want to charge and really be independent and leave the traditional 9 to 5 that I've done a long time ago, right? So that is a focus. And if you don't focus on a certain caliber of clientele, then you're never going to get that, because in order to attract a certain caliber, you got to position yourself a certain way, right? You can't just say, I'm offering this type of services and anybody can just come over. No.
Right.
Who's your ideal clientele? So that is crucial. You have to put a strategy together. It started, man. This whole thing started with one love for cinematography, right? A very long time ago, it started, I was in college, right? And the only thing that I wanted to do was to work in Hollywood, right? That was my dream. I was like, I want to work in Hollywood. I want to produce movies. I want to create amazing things, because I'm all about the story behind any picture, right? You have to be able to tell the story a certain way. And, I started doing it. I started just, looking into it, watching all the behind the scenes of how movies were produced, and started doing my little thing, right? And this led to me starting my own movie company. Or when I say movie company, a videography company, right? And in 2010, from 2010, I was able to really push this while still in college, right? Push this thing, my company, where I remember my very first paycheck was $75, right? Was so excited, man. So excited to be paid that $75 simply because my thing was, oh, here's somebody that is accepting me as a professional, right? I didn't care about the actual $75. I just cared about, yo, man, I'm being paid $75. Like, I'm going professionally. They're going to say, this is the professional we hire, right? Like, just that thing.
And what was
got
that
me
gig?
excited.
What was that gig?
It was at a church in Dallas, Texas. It was a church conference, actually like a revival, something like that. And it was on a Sunday. And I had to be there for 3 hours, man. I had to record both audio and video, edit it later, and provide it to them for that event. So I went there very excited. The staff at the church, everybody welcomed me. Oh, here's the company that we hired and all that. I was very, very excited, because I'm like, finally, I'm walking within my purpose. See, that's the difference. Like, whenever you're walking within something that you love, it doesn't matter if you're being paid or not. You will do it because you find a certain satisfaction there while you're operating within that genius zone. And so I was like, yo, this is where I need to be, right? This is where I want to be. And, fast forward, hired my first employee in 2011, right? Today we're in 2022. And it's been story ever since, because from there, obviously, I started getting more clients, more recommendation, word to mouth, things like that. And my clients will be asking me, hey, JP, do you guys offer, photography? Do you guys offer web design, graphic design? Do you guys develop mobile applications? All those things that clients typically want to do. I realized they started asking me. So what I did is went back to the drawing board. I'm the type of person where if I don't feel I'm an expert in that, I want to go back to school. I want to go take a course, a training, something that's going to empower me so I can offer that, right?
Okay.
And if I'm going to hire somebody to do that, I want to know what it will take to get it done, right? So I can intelligently, hire you and know how I can assign the responsibilities and different things like that. So took the time, right, to learn that, took some online classes. Took me 3 months to master. I became a professional graphic designer, actually a very advanced graphic design. And then continued that when it comes up to photography, right? Mastered the skills of photography, and then mastered the skill, of developing coding application, HTML5. We're working on Python to build softwares, networking software for companies and individuals, and TV applications later followed how to build that, on different platforms, whether it's Android TV or Linux, you name it. So I started learning, and believe it or not, every single time it was a challenge, but
I believe it.
It was something. Yeah, because it's hard. It's hard to do, right?
Yeah.
But every single time I'll embark on something like that, for me, I'm like, whoo, boy, this is another challenge I have to take. And whenever I'm done, whenever I graduate, whenever I'm completed with the course, and now I have an arsenal, now I'm like, yo, now I can really impact the world in a different way. But here's the deal. Remember what I said, that I'm all about the story behind every picture? Well, let me bring it back to the forefront.
Okay.
Whenever I am doing a photography, whenever I'm doing any graphic design or anything, I always wanted to tell a story. It's not, for me, it's not just about, oh, here's your application, or here's your website, or here's, this. No. Can somebody decipher the story behind this graphic? I'm always like, it has to tell a story, because without a story, people cannot connect to you, right? Because you heard me said, when I introduced myself earlier, I called myself a global branding expert. Well, I didn't always call myself a branding expert or anything like that, right? Until I discovered what I was doing, right? Because branding is literally the DNA of what makes you a business, right? We're talking about your font, your brand colors, the way your messaging, your copy, it's pretty much the peel, right? How we create the peel for your target audience to digest, right? So that's what your branding expert does. Put all that into perspective and create a strategy where people now can understand you in a better way and easily take that peel that you're offering them, right? And that is crucial, because when people don't understand you, they will not interact with you. You can have a whole lot of digital assets, but if there's not a clear, concise message, if the story cannot be captured across the board, it will not work. You said that, that's true. When you look me up, you see that I have my hands in a lot of different things. But at the same time, when you look it up, you don't feel overwhelmed. You notice I'm doing different things, but it makes sense to you whenever you're reading, whenever you go to my homepage, my website, jphightek.com, or you go to my podcast page. The story, everything makes sense. You're like, oh, okay, this is what he does. Oh, I understand every week he's doing this live stream.
Sure.
And this is what he does for people. So it's not disconnected, right? Like, you're like, oh, okay, what exactly is this person doing? No, it makes sense to you. As a matter of fact, whenever you look at it, you tell yourself, oh, yeah, he should be doing all these things. If after I've taken the time to read his bio, or, look him up or stuff like that, it makes sense to me. A guy that has all this knowledge is doing these different things to empower and give back to the community he loves, then that makes sense, right? So that is how, I ended up doing all the things I'm doing today. And I enjoy doing them, right? But I've learned one thing. I couldn't do it alone. So despite the fact that I have all this knowledge and I built all this background, right, portfolio, hire people, right? Hire people to grow my company. And now it's just a question of, oh, we have, I'll go negotiate this contract. If I have to be there, I'll be there. If not, I'll assign it to a specific member of my team. They'll take over. But we are working as one body, right? Which is something that is crucial. All this is not for one person to do. is for us to impact others and, connect with smarter people potentially in the room that will make us look better. And that's the secret. And that's why, that's how I got here. That's how I'm doing all this.
100%. I want to backtrack a little bit because I love, because basically you just dropped this great big open story loop, story hook at the beginning when you're talking about seasons of training and superpowers being released at their correct time, and sometimes superpowers not finding their place. Because I know, at the right time, because I know I have experienced that myself personally. Building up my skill sets in the entertainment industry. One of the things that people always say about a lot of the stuff that I've worked on with some of the shows that I've worked on is, dude, it just makes such an impact. It makes people feel things. And there was a time when I was learning about online business, and I wanted to take the things that I had learned and I wanted to help other people outside LA or New York learn that kind of stuff. And the mastermind groups and the business and marketing groups that I was in, they were saying, they saw some of the stuff I've been working on and they said, dude, this is incredible. You need to just take this to businesses because businesses need videos so you can make people hit the buy button and they can make more money.
Right.
And it never really connected for me, because the stuff that lights me up, the stuff that I have since realized lies with my own superpowers, is the idea of creating human connections, not just saying, hey, here's a video about our business, now go buy from the business kind of a thing. And I know those two aren't mutually exclusive necessarily, but I've come to realize that part of the reason that stuff didn't happen at that time, at this point it was about 10 years ago, was because I don't think it was the right time. Specifically with YouTube, people were still getting used to YouTube and just getting used to putting content out in the world in general. But now everybody is putting content out into the world with the push of a button.
Right.
So, which is all the more important for people to be able to connect with someone like you to say, hey, how do we show up now? How do we present ourselves to the world? And so I would be curious to know, how do you approach that idea when you start working with someone who says, okay, let's work on my branding, let's work on presentation. How do you say, okay, who are you and how are we going to help you show up in the world? How do you go about that?
That's a great question, man. Very, very good question. Yes, what you're saying is crucial, right, to the impact that we want to have within the industry that we operate in. Depending on what type of business you have a specific industry that you operate in, and you want to impact that industry a certain way. The deal is, though, that a lot of times, based on my experience, and when I say experience, I've been doing this for a very long time, for over 15 years, folks, right? I've worked in corporate America for others, right? While I was still pushing my company, I was still working for others, going to college, right? And I've learned some lessons along the way. And thank God today, right? I've been working 100% for myself, and I couldn't be happier, right? But I've learned that whenever people want to do stuff, they don't always want to do it because they want to do it. Let me say that again. They're not always asking to do it because they want to do it. They will tell you, I really want to do this, but they're not always willing to do it. Okay. There's a saying that said that people will always want your position until they realize what it takes to operate your equipment. You don't understand what it takes, right, to let's be specific, right? We live in a creator economy today. Let's be very specific. Like you just said, a lot of folks now want to have a YouTube channel. They want to do a podcast. They want to put their stuff out there, but they don't realize what it takes to actually start, produce, equip,
and
maintain and grow that digital presence, that YouTube channel. They don't realize. So they realize after the fact, oh, snap, it's going to take me all this to grow. Yes, it's going to take you all this. Yes, so what we do, right, whenever a client comes to us, what we do is first, we learn to develop the client's personal story. What is your story? First of all, I understand you're trying to do this, but let's focus on you, for example. What is your story? Remember when I was talking about Clark Kent, right? Superman. Mm-hmm. He had a story, and the time within his operation, the time he was choosing to use his power, had everything to do with his background, with his story. Meaning, if it was somebody else with the same powers, he will have used the powers at a different time because you have a different story. Your story, your background will either empower you or depower you, remove your powers away, right? Because it's not just about starting that YouTube channel. It's not just about starting that branding deal. It's not just about starting that podcast. It's about how consistent and how can you maintain the flow of what you're trying to do, regardless of adversity. Now, adversity will come. It's not if, it will come.
Right.
My question to you is, will you be able to handle? Let's be specific for the folks that are listening or watching this podcast. There was a time on my story where, if you didn't know, I used to have a different YouTube channel, right? Called JP Hightek Simple, right?
Okay.
When I grew to 10,000 subscribers, I lost that YouTube channel because of community guidelines from YouTube. Didn't do anything illegal, anything like at all, but community guidelines, they removed my YouTube channel. Came back again, right? Created a second YouTube channel, which was called JP Hightek INC. I do have the screenshot. Grew that to over 120 some thousand subscribers. Mm-hmm. I lost that again.
What?
And this time, yep. And this time, Google emails me apologizing, right? Listen, apologize. I do have screenshots and communications from Google in my Gmail account. I do have a video about how I lost over 100,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel for the folks that want to go ahead and listen to the full scope of the story. Lost that. Now in communications with Google, them apologizing and me asking them, and this was in the span of 3 months, right? Me asking them reinstate it because you're telling me it was community guidelines. I put in some appeals to let you know, actually, you're wrong. I did not violate any of your guidelines you're talking about. And after they notice it, they're like, oh, this was a mistake. It was an AI that automatically removed it, right?
Oh.
Now they're having a hard time reinstating my channel because according to them, right? According to them, it has been deleted from the server, the data that goes with it. Now, I'm a software developer. I do know where somebody's trying to put you into some BS and all that, right? I do understand that. But at the same time, I have that on record, but I'm still back today in a different way, and I'm still producing. Something like that, right, could easily destroy somebody else that doesn't have a backbone, right? I've seen so many stories where they lost 20,000 subscribers. They gave up for good. They didn't even go back, right? Am I saying that this didn't disappoint me? Of course it did. It disappointed me, right? Mm-hmm. It took me a year before I came back. After my last YouTube channel, 126,000 subscribers to be specific, that's when I lost it. When I lost that was right before pandemic hit. So I took the year to focus on my family and my business, right? Because here's the deal. You don't realize that, when I say you, a lot of people that want to do this, right, don't realize that, as you're trying to start this, you're actually building a platform on somebody else's, land.
Right.
And you don't own the land. So that person can decide to remove you at any time. If you go and read their terms of service, it says black and white that they have the choice to take any channel down whenever they see fit, whenever they believe that any channel is not 100% abiding by anything they believe in. And they are not required, according to their terms of service, to give you any explanation. If you don't believe me, go look it up. I took my time to read it. It's right there, black and white.
I'm sure it's there.
That means that literally Google can remove your channel anytime without giving you any explanation and without you doing anything illegal. So the right person that if you come to me, I will tell you, okay, your destination is not YouTube. See, I'm the professional now. When you come to me, I'll tell you, okay, oh, you're trying to build your business. You're trying to start doing podcasting. Well, one thing we need to remember is your destination is not YouTube. Your destination is not Apple Podcasts. Your destination is your landing page, your website. So you're going to leverage this, right, to have people converge back and build that traffic on your website. And in terms, you want to sell them product and services. So if you're going to do a podcast, if you're going to grow a YouTube channel, what is the purpose of it? Are you trying to do it just to show off that, oh, you can also do it? You're trying to purchase gear and show off that you can do unboxing? Because I guarantee you, if you just want to do unboxing videos, you're going to lose. Because we live in the creator economy, meaning there's a business side of being a creator. Right? So how are you going to develop this? What is the strategy of attraction that you're going to put in place? Right? And I call something the secret strategy of impact. Whenever you attract them, how will you impact them? Because remember, almost everybody's trying to do similar. So what's unique about you? What's that story that you're going to pull forward that's going to attract people in order for them to want to work with you? Because remember, without strategy, you're not doing anything. And people will only attach themselves to you because of your story. And your story will attract a specific type of people. So even though you have a story, there's a way, right, to render that story depending on the type of people you want to attract.
Absolutely.
Very crucial. And if you do not have those things in place properly, you will lose. And which is sadly the reason why a lot of people are losing, or some people might not understand. How is it that JP may have lost so many subscribers and he's back? The part of the story that you didn't know about JP is that way before he had 100,000 subscribers, JP was making 6 figures out of his podcasting. I have a system in place to capture the leads that are coming through any social media presence that I have. What you don't know is that I'm using this, right, as the extracurricular activity to confirm my expertise to people, right? So people go and look me up because they will look you up. Google, YouTube is a search engine. So as they're looking me up, they're seeing, right, what they can get when they connect with JP. They're seeing the level of production when I tell people that my company can help you with live video. Now you're looking at JP's level of production in its live video and you're like, snap, I want that. Yes, you want it. And when you go to my website, there's an easy invisible funnel that's going to make you embrace this thing I'm doing and book me for a consultation. And before you know it, we're working together. Why? Because you're already seeing what I can do, right? 100%. That is the power of leveraging this and bringing people in. But here's the deal. If I did not understand the rules of engagement, if I did not understand what I'm doing, there was no way and nothing will make sense for me coming back onto the same field that I was, quote unquote, removed from, right? It's because I understand the rules of engagement. I understand what I own and what I do not own. I understand ownership. Well, today, guess what? You go to your Apple App Store, you look for JP Hightek TV, my application is there. You go to your TV, your Roku TV, your Amazon Fire TV, you look for JP Hightek TV, my application in there that I own, right? Ownership now has changed. The facade and the how I'm positioning my ownership is not the same. So regardless of what may or may not happen on somebody else's platform, right? Whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or you name it, doesn't bother me because the conversation keeps going. My followership, right? People that are supporting me, my community, they know where to go, how to support me, where to find me, and where to purchase my services, my training, my master classes, everything that I have in place that is generating that income, giving me that 6 figures every single time. The machine is in place. But if you do not know how to do that, you do not know how to brand yourself properly in order to get this going, you're preaching to the choir. So that is how we do it, right? When people come over, we first focus on your strength, you, the person, first. Then your company's strength, right? Whatever you're trying to, build. What's the strength of the company? And when we put that together with your strength, how can we sustain this? And now we put together a strategy, right? That's going to help you expedite this thing, because today you got to be able to expedite certain things so that you're seen. And I always say one thing: it's not because you're starting that you have to do things as if you were starting.
How so?
For example, it's not because you're a startup that your company needs to look like a startup. It's not because you just started that you have to go through the same 3 years of walk that somebody else. A good branding agency, a good professional, a good movie producer can take your basic story and nobody and make that as something, as somebody. In the way it was produced, in the way it was positioned, in the way the website was designed. People may never have heard about you, but I guarantee you, whenever my team is done with your designs, people will be like, I never heard about you. And I don't know why. Because you look like somebody I should have known about. How is it that I never heard about this guy? Yeah, because today you can do so much, which is something that is crucial. Because when we're talking about branding, there's something called your net worth, your brand's net worth. What is the net worth of your brand? What is the value of your brand? And what is the growth strategy of your brand? Because every brand grows, right? Do you have that in place that you're following? If you do not have all this in place, you need to go back to the drawing board or hire a company that can help you out. So that's why I'm saying that, right? You may have started in 2022, but you can look like you've been doing this for 5 years.
Here's something that's a lot of people who may not realize the importance of what you just said in terms of building your business, building your presence on rented land. There's a back and forth that people have. Sometimes it's just inside our heads, and sometimes it's discussing with other people. There are so many different places to be present these days, to have content going out to this place and this place and this place and this place. Do people these days need to be everywhere at once? What do you think?
I will say yes and no. And let me explain why I'm saying yes and no. One, yes, if you have a strategy of conversion. No, if you don't. Because if you don't, you need to focus. See, the thing is, distraction is a big play here. Let's keep something in mind, okay? Every single platform want to keep you on that platform, right? YouTube wants you to stay on YouTube, okay? Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. Twitter wants you to stay on Twitter. It doesn't matter, TikTok, you name it. They want you to stay on their platform. They don't want you to go on the competitors, okay? That competition is there. So distraction is heavily present. Now, you got to also understand that the millennium, right? They, in reality, simply want to have fun by streaming and watching different things. But at the same time, because of how the web technology is now, people want to learn almost everything on the web, right? On the internet, which is the opportunity that you have to capture people. Now, the strategy that you have in place is whenever they are, for somebody is broadcasting across multiple platforms, that's simply because different people are more present on a specific platform. We all have a preference, right? You may prefer TikTok. I'm not a big dude on TikTok. I don't really TikTok, right? But other people are very big on it. I'm not big on Twitter. I'm more Facebook. Some people are big on Twitter, not that much Facebook. Some are more LinkedIn, and you name it. Now, here's the deal. Different platforms have different type of audience. What you're doing is tapping into all this platform if you're doing a simulcasting, right? Onto all this platform. Okay, you have that going on. But the question is, before you even did that, before you started simulcasting everywhere, do you have a one specific place of convergence? Because ultimately, if you're just doing simulcasting, which most people do, right? They're just doing simulcasting, and that is their destination, they're hurting themselves. Because ultimately, now you're tapping into the power of distraction. So you're just distracting them. You don't have a focus of conversions, right? To bring people together. You are, let's say, a pastor preaching in the choir. You're outdoor preaching in different churches, different places. You don't even have your own home. So whenever somebody appreciated something you said and they want to look you up, they're having a hard time because almost everywhere they look you up at, they're finding you on different platforms. So think about the person that appreciate TikToks, right? And he's on TikTok. He discovered your content, fell in love with what you're saying, decided to look you up and realize that your content is available on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on here. But I don't want to be on Twitter. I don't care about Twitter. I want to be on TikTok. So because you do not have a main focus of convergence, now guess what? I'm like, I'm gonna keep moving. Now you just lost me. Because when I look you up, you're everywhere but nowhere. So most people are forgetting about themselves. Most people are building great following. They're building some serious communities on borrowed land.
Yeah.
And as they're doing that, they're losing people because I'm gonna be here and watch your stuff. But what you're forgetting is that competition is the number one killer of your traffic. Okay, how can you? Let's put it like exactly right because remember. On YouTube, you have plenty of competition. Do you know how many channels are talking about similar stuff that you're talking about?
Buckets of them. It's the technical term.
Millions of them, right? So here you are. You do not mind selling your T-shirt on a website where there are 1,000 other people selling T-shirts. Do you realize what you're doing?
Struggling to stand out. That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing. But if I were to tell you, hey, here's some of my sample shirts. Guess what? If you want more, go here. Now I'm bringing you somewhere where there's no competition. There's nobody else in the way. There's no distraction. It's me all the way. And not only that, now I've designed an invisible funnel that's going to bring you and take you to a certain journey, right? Because the navigation experience, you designed it. The presentation, you put it together. That's why the person now is going to have desire to book a time to work with you. Because now you are, controlling the narrative, right? You are the person that's dictating how the experience should go now. And you just gave them a taste, brought them here, and now you are sealing the deal. That's why it's so crucial, right?
Let me just break in here, folks, because JP's dropping some serious gold here. Can you imagine the difference if you have something that you're offering to your people? The difference between you saying, hey, here's my thing, when you're offering it on another platform, surrounded by thousands of other things just like you, compared to you're bringing your traffic, your crowd to your own place where the only thing they see is you. That's a really big deal if you've never thought about that before. And I know a lot of creators get really sucked into the idea of, well, I'm a creator on X platform. Well, whatever platform that is, you are surrounded by distractions. So what is, so what's the path forward from that?
The path forward is understanding the power that you have. See, the problem is most people do not understand the power they have. And believe it or not, and based on my experience, I've connected with so many creators that are even scared of being the only one, which is surprising. So the path forward here is understanding the power that you have. Remember that people are not subscribing or following you because you're on YouTube. They're subscribing and following you because of you, because of what you are. All right. First of all, is you. You are the one creating the content. You are the one holding the conversations. They fell in love with you. So now they want to connect more with you. And as you give them that opportunity, you can only grow from there. And also, I just said grow. That is a problem today where the average person, the average new creator does not understand the true meaning of growth. Because growth to the average person is having 1 million subscribers. Listen, like I just said, I was already making 6 figures before I even hit 50,000 subscribers. Mm-hmm. And there are plenty of people that have 200,000 subscribers that are barely making 50,000 a year or even that. Mm-hmm. So the question is, how is that possible? Oh, you're waiting on YouTube to monetize your channel? You really don't understand how the creator economy works then. You don't.
It seems like it seems like the obvious thing for a lot of people, but man, it is literally pennies. You're literally stepping over dollars to pick up a penny.
Mm-hmm. Literally, that's what you're doing, mm-hmm. right? Remember, you're on borrowed land. Yeah. You're operating within their rules and policies. You don't dictate anything here. So the path is think about ownership, right? And if you're all about building wealth, which I am, and the average person, you need to understand is all about not having any debt and building your wealth, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're building your wealth, the smart person will tell you invest, get a portfolio of real estate and certain things, right? If you're all about investing your money and growing that, right? Mm-hmm. I am, right? So I'm all about not working for anybody ever in my life again. So you better put some things in place so that never happens, mm-hmm. and that's how you do it, right? So if you're owning real estate, which I own real estate, right? So you understand that's one of the best investments you can do. Why? Ownership. Yeah. You pay ownership, man. Ownership. You need to own the things that are going to pay you. Think about the same thing when it comes down to the creator economy. What type of ownership do you have? Because if one day you're going to build a brand that becomes so big and premium that maybe one day you decide to sell it, well, the net value of that company, that brand that you built, can only give you that value based on your ownership level. People don't sell companies when they barely own 10% of that company. Mm-hmm. They're going to look for who have the biggest ownership here. You started the company? Yeah, I created this company. And how many percentage you have? Oh, as of today, I own 20%. I can't talk to you. I need to talk to the dude that has 80%.
Right.
You see how that goes, mm-hmm. even though you created it? So what you're doing here is creating on a borrowed land, and you're becoming that person that owns 20%. Guess what? They're going to go talk to Google because Google literally owns you. You don't want that to happen. So what ownership do you have? Folks, I'm dropping a lot of things based on years of experience right now that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. If you're not following, pause, replay.
I think there's a good number of folks who need to hit the replay on this episode for sure.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, dude, there is so much food for thought here for people who love what you're laying down, want to find out more about you, want to find out how to work with you. Where do they go?
Oh, man. Yeah, everywhere. I'm just kidding, man. No, but literally everywhere, man. You can, my home is my website, jphightek.com, right?
Hightek,
and if you listen to the podcast, Hightek is HIGHTEK.com. Mm-hmm. That is my home. Literally everything I do, you can find it there. Regardless of anything you can find on any other platform. If you're bringing anything that wasn't there before into existence, you're a creator, pretty much, right? And so if you're a creator, we empower you with the tools to grow. Now, if we're talking about you growing your brand, right? You want to really grow that brand. And the way I was explaining, well, book a free consultation on my website. And once you go there, just go to jphightek.com/booking or go to jphightek.com and click on the booking tab. Book 100% free consultation and let's see how me and my team can help you. Networking is everything, right? Don't hold back because you never know who you might need for something specific at a specific season of your life, right? We have different seasons and different things that happen. Leverage that networking, which is literally the currency in this digital era that we live in today. So in that sense, that's what I do. And if you're in Tennessee, because I am in Tennessee,
Okay.
you can visit my studio anytime, right? We have our studio here in Tennessee. Hit me up, say, JP, I'm in Tennessee. Where do you guys operate, right? We have our studios here. Hey, come over, man. Come over. Let's work together and let's keep this connection going, man. Excited. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
If you're a creator who wants to unlock the next level of creativity and impact in your content, then you should join us in the Green Room. It is our private community here in Story Greenlight that's all about helping creators like you tell your stories, connect with your audience, and get things done with the support of a community of creators like you. You can get full access to the Green Room for a month for free. You can get started right now at the link in the description below. I'll see you there.